I was actually nervous about my scenes upcoming. I was worried about that I had to scream. I don't know if I could do that well. I kind of had an idea, but once I did it, I felt way better. I was kind of like not myself in the first try, and he said, just calm down and just be yourself. And I said, okay. And being myself, having my spirit, I think that really helped.
I was watching on a video from somewhere else, and that was a moment when I felt like I get to take my kid home. He gets to wipe this makeup off, and I get to take him home. And John's mom didn't get to do that. And that was a really hard day for me to get through, because as a mother, I just couldn't imagine what your mom went through. And so that was a really powerful. It felt like everybody here was here because this story felt really important to them to tell, and it wasn't just a job. And to me, that's what really made this different.
Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to the Live Inspired podcast with John O'Leary. This week, the Voices of Soul on Fire series brings forward our youngest cast member, our youngest star. His name is James McCracken. Little James was one of more than 800 child actors who tried out for the role of John O'Leary in the forthcoming film Soul on Fire. And of those 800 young actors, the one who rose to the top was a little fella named James. As we dance through this conversation together, James and I are going to have a candid conversation about acting, about baseball, about life. We may even talk about the Cubs, and the Cardinals, yes. But more than that, we're going to talk about what it looks like to show up fully, to love the one in front of you. Yes, James McCracken does this at 9 years old. He's awesome. You're also going to meet his mother as we journey through the conversation. You're going to recognize what it was like for him to sit down and be seated across from icons in the industry like John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, and William H. Macy. It's an awesome conversation with an awesome human being. You're going to love it. So friends, you ready for it? Buckle up. Get ready for the ride. You're going to love this one because I love the guy you are about to learn from. His name is James McCracken. James, little John O'Leary, welcome to Live Inspired with John O'Leary.
Hi. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here today. I'm just excited. I'm excited to answer these questions.
So what you're probably hearing already, my friends, is James sounds a little younger than most of our guests. I interviewed a guy yesterday who was 82 years old. James is not. James, why don't we begin by telling folks how old you are?
Okay, well, I'm 9 years old, and my birthday is on August 27th, 2014.
So you're in St. Louis today. Where do you live normally?
I live in Elmhurst, which is in Illinois. I live next to Chicago.
All right. And what do you do up in Chicago?
We mostly see theater up there. We have a lot of baseball games, soccer games, all of that, sports. And my brother loves just playing.
What is your brother's name?
My brother is Hayes.
How would you describe Hayes?
Hayes is playful, and he loves writing plays. He's really musical.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
And when you're not with Hayes, what are some of the favorite things that you like to do?
Well, at home, I like to play upstairs in my room. I like to play soccer. I like to throw the baseball outside with my dad.
Well, I think that's a good pivot, because part of what brought you and me together is your dad, and it is your mom, and it is what you're doing when you're not playing baseball or soccer or in school. So let's start by talking about your dad. Michael, tell our audience what your dad does for a living.
My dad is actually the owner of Vagabond School of the Arts. He helps people act. He's really fun, and he's doing really well at his job. He also had a pedicab company that's kind of going down because he has so much in Vagabond. But when he does that, he did like this thing last year where he put on a whole elf costume and went around town asking people if they wanted a pedicab ride.
So when your dad's not fun with everybody else, what's he like for you as a dad?
He normally just likes to play with me when I want to play. He's good at finding ways to help both me and Hayes and let Hayes do what he wants to do while I do what I want to do.
He's also married to a lady who I know very well. You call her Mom. I call her Becca. What's your mom like?
Well, my mom is kind. She is really helpful. Right now, my mom is helping both me and Hayes here while I'm at my soccer tournament. So my mom is doing really good at controlling both of us.
So, audience, listeners, and viewers, you are hearing a little bit of noise in the background. We're recording this in a hotel in St. Louis, Missouri. The great James McCracken is in for a soccer tournament. So it's cool to have mom seated right to my right as we're recording this conversation. What does your mom do professionally?
She is a casting director, and she's actually very good at doing it. She got asked to do so many things, but she is staying with her job because she loves it.
You grew up in this family that loved theater and loved
Yes.
arts and loved movie and loved performing and loved music and just kind of loved life. But you weren't drawn into it from a professional lens until COVID. Is that right? You weren't actually actively doing it. What
No.
changed?
Well, my dad and my mom had to bring work home, and I saw my friend doing it. I asked my dad, what was that? He said, well, he just was doing acting. And I said, I want to do that. That looks fun.
And did your dad say, get out of here, get lost, kid?
Nope.
What did your dad say?
My dad said, okay.
So you start doing acting, but it's not really like riding a bike. It's not like you just get on, take the training wheels off and move forward. Like acting's really hard. So how did you slowly get better at it?
Well, it took a lot of practice. Honestly, a little bit of luck on my first one, me being 6 years old and booking a movie. So after that, I kind of realized, wow, this is fun, and I actually get the meaning of acting. So I just started building up off that, went to a few small parts in like commercials and stuff, and then On Fire, which was pretty big to me.
Well, we're not quite ready for On Fire yet. Let's talk about some of the other roles first. You said you got lucky when you were 6. What was your very first role as an actor?
Well, on my first audition, my mom and dad were just like trying me out. They said, it's a movie called Christmas Again. And I said, okay, so let's do it. And they were like, well, first you have to audition, which you gotta like try to get into the movie. So I tried that and I got on hold. And they were like, wow, James, this is really big. You did really, really good. It's a small chance that you're gonna make it, and I made it. So I was really happy when I made Christmas Again.
So you made Christmas Again, but that also means now I've got to leave home. I got to leave my brother who's over here right now. I got to go on the road for a while. I think you were gone almost 8 weeks for Christmas Again.
Yeah.
And it's during COVID. What was it like your very first time making a movie during COVID away from home?
Well, it was actually not that far from home. It was like in Chicago. We drove back every day to
Every day.
come back home. So, yeah, we were like on like 24/7.
Right.
Yeah. But it was still amazing because on like my first day we had to do COVID tests. The next week COVID test, and you had to wear a mask when you're not acting. It was really big, and I was like, is this gonna happen every single time I book a movie?
So when I went through my first movie process, and you might have been part of that, we'll come back to it in a moment, I was surprised by so much of how you make a movie. Like the whole thing surprised me. When you made your very first movie, what was your reaction?
I was totally wowed. Like I said, I've never been on a movie before. That was my first one, so I was like, honestly, when I was 6, I was probably like, wow, this is cool. That's that, because now if I was there, I would actually really be like, holy cow, that was an experience.
Yes.
That was an experience.
Were you nervous?
I was actually not nervous. I was actually just go through, just do it. And I had a lot of fun doing it. And at the end of the movie, they said, okay, you have to do this perfectly because the actor playing the lead role has to go home for Christmas in time. So it was a lot of pressure.
Yes.
And I did it, and we all went home for Christmas in time.
Because of James McCracken. Would you take full responsibility for the reason why this set filmed on time and wrapped on time? Yes or no?
Not full responsibility, but definitely a little bit of it.
You've earned it, man. So you do this movie. It is hugely successful. You've done a little bit of work since then. And then you hear about this movie called On Fire. How'd you first hear about that?
My dad just said, hey, you got another audition. And I said, okay. And I had to scream in the audition. And I was like, that's fine. We'll do it. And I just had a lot of fun doing the audition. It felt really fun to me. And then when my dad said, okay, you're on hold and this is a big deal, there's only like one other person who is still waiting with you, I was like, what? That's crazy. I was so happy. We did the callback, had all that fun. It was really fun, the audition. And then we went to the movie and I was totally wowed by the prosthetics, the makeup. I loved the whole movie set.
Well, let's go through it kind of slowly because I want to make sure I understand how it felt for you. And also I want to make sure our listeners understand what that process was like. So you auditioned for this movie called On Fire. What's the role that you're going for? Who's the guy you want to play?
I'm playing the main role as a kid because there's like multiple main roles.
What's the person's name that you're
John O'Leary.
Oh, so you probably had to be a very handsome young man. Would you agree?
Yep, definitely.
You had to be very intellectually astute. You had to be very smart, very athletic, very funny, ravishingly handsome, all those things. So did you check those boxes?
I guess. I mean, if I made it into the movie, then probably.
You did. We've talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating for our listeners. It wasn't just you and one other kid applying. Do you remember how many kids applied to be John?
Actually, I think it was 800.
It was exactly 800. So there were 800 little boys from around the country, mostly, even a few from around the world, who wanted to portray this little boy. It's hard for you to answer this because you're so awesome and humble. But why do you think it is out of 800 kids, they and we chose you?
I think it was probably my spirit. My dad said, be yourself. That really helped me get the audition. So I was kind of like not myself in the first try. And he said, just calm down, just be yourself.
Yes.
And I said, okay. And being myself, having my spirit, I think that really helped.
I would agree. I think voice tells part of a story, but eyes tell far more. And even sitting across from me right now while we record this, like you just exude joy. You can't fake that. You can't act that. You just naturally do that. And so does the guy you become later on in life, a guy named Joel Courtney, who portrays John O'Leary as an older version of that kid. So I just love the way you two came together perfectly. You mentioned in the first movie that most of it was filmed in Chicagoland. So you left home, but then you would return each day. This is different. Now you're packing up the car, you're packing up, leaving your dad, leaving your brother, leaving your dog.
Well, I was actually with my dad and I left my mom that time. But yeah, so still leaving everybody else but my dad still really hard.
Yeah? How do you do that as a kid? How do you say goodbye to your friends, your classmates, your teammates, your dad? Eventually your brother went home, so you had to say goodbye to him too. How do you say goodbye for 6, 7, 8 weeks?
I was actually really sad when I left, but really happy when I got here.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I didn't like it at the same time. I wish it was filmed in Chicago, but I wish it was still filmed.
That's a great answer. So you come to St. Louis, which was awesome. How do you get ready for a role? The first role, Christmas Again, you knew how to get ready for that one. But now you're about to play a little boy who likes riding a bike and likes a team that you grew up hating called the St. Louis Cardinals and goes through a horrible burn event. How do you get ready to become that kid?
My dad says and my mom say I'm really good at like going straight from one scene being like totally scared, oh my gosh, to being like, I'm fine. So I think just getting ready for the role, it was really hard work. I had to go through a lot of makeup, a lot of clothes.
How was that the first time?
Yeah.
The first time they did the makeup, they put scars on you.
Yeah,
And
honestly.
what was that like?
Yeah, I was like kind of grossed out. And then I got used to it because I was in there every day.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was weird.
When you say weird, what do you mean? Because I want to make sure our listeners understand what they
Yeah.
were doing to you and ultimately what it looked like.
So they put this makeup all over my face. It was prosthetics. It kind of just didn't feel right. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like my face anymore.
When you looked in the mirror, how did it feel?
I kind of was just like, whoa, what the heck? How'd that happen?
And then your hands, you're seated across from an old man named John O'Leary who's missing his fingers on both hands. You had to become that younger version of him, that little boy. So at first you had your fingers, but then eventually they amputate your fingers. What was it like when they put those gloves on you and they amputated your fingers?
Yeah, it was hard to fit my fingers through the holes.
Yes.
They were not like actual holes, just like fit them into the right spots. But I got used to it. I loved the hands. I loved trying to pick up new things with the hands. It felt like an adventure, but honestly, I do not think that was an adventure for you.
Yeah, it was an adventure, all right, but not all adventures are easy, right?
Definitely.
So we did something together. One of the very first times I met you live, called a table read. And I'd never heard of a table read before. I wasn't a theater kid. I had never been in a Hollywood movie before. Tell our listeners what a table read is.
Well, honestly, I didn't actually really know what it was either. But a table read is kind of like when people all come together in one spot. When we were there, they were on Zoom, so sometimes some people are on Zoom, and most of the people there were gathered around on this table. So they started the movie off, we read our lines, and so you have the paper in your hand, you have your own little spot at the desk, sometimes you have snacks. It was just fun sitting down and meeting all the new people, because that's where I actually met everybody.
Yeah. How did you feel it went?
I think the table read actually went really good. Yeah.
How was your part of it? How'd you feel like? How did James
honestly-
McCracken perform?
Yeah, honestly, I felt I didn't know I could do that good, but I felt really good about what I did.
You should have. It was so moving. You and all the other actors and the work they did, and it's the first time I was certain that the movie was going to work and like really work well. So we then go forward, and you don't start filming that first week. You get a week to kind of go through makeup and hair and all the other things they do with you. As we move into the second week, though, that's when James McCracken becomes the star. What were you most nervous about as you got ready to hear the words action?
I was actually nervous about my scenes upcoming. I was worried about that I had to scream. I don't know if I could do that well. I didn't know what Sean McNamara wanted. I kind of had an idea, but once I did it, I felt way better.
You mentioned a name, and not everybody, believe it or not, knows who Sean McNamara is. Tell the three listeners out there who do not know the great Sean McNamara. Who is Sean McNamara? What's his job?
Sean is a director. He was the director of On Fire specifically. He is really kind, really nice. He loves to laugh. He has a great spirit.
When a scene is done right and we're finally done with that scene, what is the word he yells out to say, yeah?
Genius. He always yells, genius. It's so fun.
So I'm going to walk through a couple of the other guys you worked with. So Sean was one of them, who I love. Sean is now my brother. I love Sean McNamara. Talk about working with John Corbett. Who is John Corbett in the movie?
John Corbett played my dad. I don't really know all these famous actors at first, but now I kind of get who they are because of mostly my mom. And
Yeah, I won't grill you on that one. John Corbett, many ladies love John Corbett. He's a really cool guy.
John played my dad in the movie, and he was really kind. Yeah.
Stephanie Shostak, who is she?
She played my mom in the movie. Is it French?
Yeah, that's where she grew up.
But she's really good at playing the mom. Like, when I'd imagine it, I kind of would feel like that's a good role.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Stephanie. Devon Franklin.
Didn't he play the doctor?
Yeah. Nurse Roy.
Nurse Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was actually like really spirit moving. He had a great voice for the role. He is kind. I keep saying kind, but all of them are kind.
know,
It's
man.
just an amazing cast.
You and I, the week before we started filming, I said, man, who are you most excited to meet? Do you remember who you told me you were most excited to meet?
I actually don't.
I do. William H. Macy. You said,
Yeah.
man, I cannot wait to meet William H. Macy. Why were you excited to meet that guy?
Well, my mom told me a lot about him. I guess he was a really good actor, so I kind of felt I kind of want to meet him. And then when I met him, which was when we were in the hotel, I said hello, and then a whole bunch of people came and swarmed around him. Somebody said, "It's my daughter's birthday," and they all it was just like a greeting.
He draws a crowd, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What was he like to work? Well, first of all, what role did he play? Who was the guy that he was pretending to be?
He played Jack Buck in the movie, the Cardinals commentator, and he had the right type of energy. He had the right voice for the role. He was like, "Are you ready for this?" It's like, I mean, I know that was whatever was his lines, but still, he definitely made it clear.
Yes, he did. They all were not only great actors, they're just fun people. And you fit perfectly in with that bunch. So when you look back at all the scenes we shot here in St. Louis, what was your favorite? Either favorite to participate in or like, man, I can't wait to see this scene in the movie.
I was excited to see the opening scene where I rode my bike through all those trees. It was really fun for me to ride the bike. I love bike riding. I think I did a really good job, just like being happy. I'm riding on a bike. Nothing happened yet, but this is like one of the last scenes of the movie that we're filming. And we already went through a bunch of burning stuff, but this is all before the burning stuff.
Yes.
It's just calm, happy riding a bike. And I love that.
Wasn't that strange how you don't film a movie in sequence? So like
Yeah.
you get burned, but then you film scenes before you're burned. And then you have John O'Leary Day at the ballpark. And then you film that bike scene that took place at the very beginning of the movie. Was that weird for you to film out of order?
Yeah. It was honestly, but when I was doing Christmas again, it was like, is this gonna be the order of the movie?
Uh-huh.
And my mom explained it and my dad explained it, but so I got a better idea when I moved into On Fire. But yeah, when I was doing Christmas again, it was wow, I just didn't get it.
So now that you do get it, and now that you've participated in On Fire, what do you hope when people see the movie they get from it?
They're gonna live like way more inspired. The movie was very inspiring. It was very moving.
So I'm looking at Hayes right now. How old is Hayes?
He is 7.
Do you think Hayes would enjoy On Fire?
A few parts.
Yeah?
I don't think he'd be totally ready for it. And when he's like a little bit more of my age, he might love it.
Yeah? So like when
Yeah.
he's way up, like almost 10, he'll be like
9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about your mom? You think she'll enjoy it?
definitely. My mom read the book On Fire. She loves the book. I love the book.
He's a self-promoter, people. I mean, what can you say about the kid? The movie, the book On Fire, it's a sweet book. You read it too?
Yeah, my mom and me read it. We were supposed to read the whole book before we did any of the scenes.
Yes.
And my mom was like, "Okay, we're doing this." So because the first week I wasn't really on, but we practiced like stuff. I think we practiced makeup a few times.
Yep.
Just to try it out. My mom read the book to me, and after the 4th chapter, I was really into the book. I was moved already.
Well, you carried that movement and that energy directly into the film. And I've seen the film already 7 different times. We're on now version 8 being created behind the scenes. And James, you just shine, man. You did an incredible job. And I feel so proud and lucky that we chose you, that you chose us, and we got to participate in making this movie together. It was awesome. Outside of On Fire, what's next for you? What are you looking ahead toward?
I've got a whole like baseball season and soccer season going on right now, both travel teams. So yeah, mostly sports, but I also have a lot of acting. I get auditions like once every week, twice every week. So I feel busy.
Do you mind if I make your mom sit down next to you for a moment so I can ask her a couple
Totally.
questions?
That's fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, from stage left, we have Becca McCracken joining us on the Live Inspired podcast with John O'Leary, seated next to her son, James. Becca, welcome to Live Inspired.
Thank you, John.
You're not only a reader of the book, you're a listener of the podcast, so you kind of know what we do around here. As you're seated here watching how the sausage is made. And this time we're not interviewing some astronaut or business owner. We're interviewing your son. What is it like just watching your boy be on this show, ask these sometimes hard questions and do such a brilliant job answering them? What are you feeling right now?
Honestly, when you first asked about this idea, my mind started to melt because I have listened to your show and all of the incredible guests you have, and especially the series you're doing right now in April. And it just felt like I've learned that I have to sort of compartmentalize, and instead of thinking about, does that make sense? Does James really belong in this?
Right.
Is he big enough? Like, I've learned to just start saying yes and not trying to overthink it and just trusting you. And I trust you. But it's truly wild to watch him answer these questions, and I'm so proud of him.
So we travel. You're in town right now on a travel team, and that's somewhat disruptive for a family, right? As we hear it in your voice, that's a weekend away. We invited you to join us for a couple months away. As a parent, what's that like?
Oh, that wasn't easy. It was really hard to leave Hayes. James is my heart, but Hayes is also my heart, and so leaving Hayes for 7 weeks was a big ask. And I think that we did our best to make it as easy on the whole family as possible. And there was a couple visits here and there. But even I remember that first visit when they came, Hayes afterwards said, I can't do that again if it's such a short visit because it's too hard to keep saying goodbye. And so it wasn't easy to be away from him and Michael. And then Michael's also left at home with our brand new puppy, which was a lot. And it was also really special to have that time with James. It was really special.
So I'm going to ask a couple of the same questions I asked James of you. Table read. Now that our audience knows what that is, and now that I do as well, what was it like for you being in that room, the room where it happens, and having your little boy participate, and just what's that like as a mother?
Very wild, because I have been at a lot of table reads, and I love a table read. A table read is the beginning of the process for the actors, where for the first time you get to hear everybody's voices bring the story to life in the same room. What I'm learning for me in this journey is to take off my professional hat. It's completely removed when I become set mom, which is, a new journey for me that I never in my wildest dreams imagined I'd be on. And so I try to remove the expectation of what a big deal this is. And instead just focus on, is he hungry? Does he have water? Can he read? Can he read okay? Does he have space? Is he comfortable? So for me, it really just becomes all about making sure James is okay and so that he can do his job.
What's that like when you go from being the most active, you're essentially a coach in your normal job, like you're front and center on all this. And as a mom on set, in some regards, your job is to fade into the shadows, to let your son shine. How do you manage both of those things?
I actually think it's harder as an extrovert. Less about the professionalism, but in my job, I'm actually never on set. I very rarely visit set. The work I do happens before everything else starts, when they identify the cast, and then I'm moving on to the next project when the projects I work on get started. But I am an extrovert, and so I get energy from people. I love to talk to people, but I'm aware enough of the fact that I'm not here because I was selected to be here. I am here to take care of this young person who was selected to be here. So I worked really hard to try to slide into the shadows, yet be as present as I needed to be for him.
Was there a scene as a mother that, as your little boy is acting, that you found deeply meaningful, that moved you the most?
James is nodding his head yes, and I'm wondering what are you thinking?
Every single scene. Seriously.
That is true. Every single scene was extremely powerful. As James said, we read the book together. We read a chapter every night. Those chapters are long. He said it wasn't until he got through chapter 4. But I think what is true is by finishing chapter 1, we were 100% invested. It was chapter 4 that got really powerful, where I think something shifted inside him, where something, so we were already super engaged in the book. But in chapter 4, something changed in his heart that I had never seen happen before either. So that was really powerful. And then watching him bring that to the work he was doing. The whole thing was meaningful, but I think that the hardest part to watch was the scene when he was first brought into the ER right after the fire. That was really hard for a couple of reasons. And one was it was being shot right after they finished a different scene.
Yeah.
And so the transition was very quick. And so they had to put James, on the gurney and then very quickly put on the most intense makeup that he'd experienced yet in terms of the actual like texture of the makeup. That plus the energy plus what was then being asked of him to do in that moment was a lot. And then also I was watching on a video from somewhere else, and that was a moment when I felt like I get to take my kid home. He gets to wipe this makeup off and I get to take him home. And John's mom didn't get to do that. And that was a really hard day for me to get through because as a mother, I just couldn't imagine what your mom went through. And so that was a really powerful scene.
It's a beautiful story. Did you connect with my mother while you were in St. Louis at all?
Oh my gosh, yes. And if I just sitting here and I'm like, I wish I could see her while I'm here. Yes, both your parents and your entire family, the way that we were invited into the family and made to feel at home was certainly not something I expected to happen. Your mom, every time I saw her, she hugged us and she genuinely seemed like she cared deeply for us. And it felt really special.
I wasn't expecting that either. I wasn't expecting to fall in love with you and your family as much as we did. And to connect with every single participant in the movie the way we did it at like a very human level. Like these are our friends now. Yeah. I'd always assumed one thing about actors, and I was completely wrong, at least about the ones we got. There was zero ego. It was all love. It was all generosity.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you, or were you kind of assuming that?
It surprised me. And I actually asked John Corbett about it. So we all stayed in the same hotel, which was really great. It felt like a commune. So we had breakfast together, happy hour together. We were there all of the time together. Every time you went on set together, you were at the hotel together. And I asked John at some point, I said, this was surprising to me. And he did say that can happen, that it's sometimes, he's obviously shot a lot of movies. And he did say that he's had really great experiences on other sets. Again, not having any experience really being part of a film set. I was glad to hear that because it's encouraging for the industry.
Yeah.
But I also think that what made this one different was it felt like everybody here was here because this story felt really important to them to tell, and it wasn't just a job. And to me, that's what really made this different. Everybody really was moved powerfully by your story and wanting to be a part of this movie in this moment, which felt bigger than being excited to be cast in something.
Wow.
So that was, I honestly think that's the energy that brought everybody together.
We're winding down our time together during this podcast, and the background noise in the hotel is picking up as we do so, right on cue. What do you hope people receive when they check out this movie? You were part of about half the scenes because it's either Little John or Big John participating. So when Little John's on, you're on set as well. You saw a lot. You read the book. You read the entire script. You generally know how this thing is going to shake out. How do you hope people are moved after they walk out of a theater?
Honestly, the thing that we keep coming back to as a family, especially James and myself, is why me? And I think that that's a question that I hope that after everybody who sees this film, that they continue to ask themselves forever. And that they revisit the story, they revisit this book and the film, because it's truly inspiring.
James, anything to add before we move into the Live Inspired 7?
My mom. The why me was moving, inspiring, all the words. Not anything can describe it, but everything can describe it. It's an amazing question. Why me helps it with anything. It could help with something that's really fun. It could help with something that's really sad, or it just soothes anything that you need soothing.
So we're going to finish together strong with these questions. You ready for them, James? Let's go. Becca, you ready? I'm going to ask these of both of you. So I'll give you both a little bit of time to think through your answer while the other one is going. James McCracken, what is the best book you've ever read? You don't need to say On Fire, by the way.
Well, yeah, On Fire was a really good book. I'm trying not to say it. But another really good book was Alone, which is about a girl who got everybody evacuated from Colorado. So the whole state evacuated, and she was the only one there. And 3 years being alone in the wild, she survived tornadoes, hurricanes, she survived floods, she survived droughts. It's a story that keeps you wowed.
Wow. And I look forward to checking that out. What about you, Becca? Most impactful book you've ever read?
Well, I knew I was going to be asked this question. because I listen to the podcast. And I mean, the real answer for me is On Fire. I've talked a little bit about why. In the other book I come back to all the time is actually a collection of my mom's poems. And I think that On Fire is one I'll continue to come back to be reminded of what it means to live a life radically inspired. And then I come back to my mom's poetry all the time because it reminds me of how sweet life is and how joyful life is, and to look for the humor and the playfulness in life.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to start with you, Becca. I don't even know if this question applies to my young participant over here next to you, but what is one positive characteristic or one trait you possessed as a little girl growing up that you wish you exhibited as brilliantly today?
I would say playfulness. As a child, my sister and I played nonstop with my mom and my dad, and life gets hard as an adult.
Yeah.
And I find it's hard to find time for that play, even when I want to.
James, what's your favorite characteristic? When you are like living your best version of who you are, what do you think you shine most brilliantly today?
I just feel like I'm very adventurous. I love ziplining in Mexico. I love playing sports. I love most about everything that comes on jumping on little rocks. I love nature. I love exploring the world.
Hold on to that love, because it will set you apart as you become an adult. That's awesome. If your home caught fire and your dog's out and your parents are out and your brother's even out and you have an opportunity of running in and grabbing one thing you really love, what's the one thing you would run back in and save?
I can't pick. Just I love about most everything at my house. I wish I could save the house.
Yes,
honestly.
You can't. It's burning. You only have two hands. You got to grab something now, McCracken. What are you going to grab?
My bed.
He's taking the people. It's a first time on the Live Inspired podcast. We got a guy getting a bed. That tells you a lot about James. My gosh, he grabbed the bed. He's super strong and lethargic. He's going to lay on the bed and watch the place burn. So that's his answer. Becca, now that the bed is safely out, so there goes that answer. Is there anything you might grab?
Well, now this answer feels boring, but probably my mom's poetry book.
I don't think it feels bored at all. I think it feels on brand. If you could sit on a bench on a gorgeous day and have a long conversation with anyone, living or dead, who would you like to be seated next to, James?
My mom and my dad. I like talking with them. I like just sharing anything with them, honestly.
So almost all the time on this podcast, we hear people talk about people who are no longer alive or people who are celebrities. And only occasionally do people bring up people who they're in love with still. Occasionally. It's so rare, and it's so awesome when we hear it. So I'm glad you're next to your mom and your dad talking life. What about you, Becca?
For me, it would be my mom. She was taken too early off this earth, and I miss her every single day. And I wish we could sit on a bench together and talk and catch up.
What's the best advice your mother or anyone else ever gave you?
I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't know if I can think of a specific piece of advice I was given, but she certainly instilled the importance of showing up for others. That's what she did every day.
Thank you. James,
Yeah.
best advice you've ever
It's
received?
definitely a hard question. I agree with Mom. I mean, probably just about On Fire. Like, every single thing from On Fire was just very inspirational, and I think that On Fire is going to be my answer. Just that whole thing. I love Why Me. I love all the sayings that you put into the book that we put into the movie. It's just very inspirational, and that's my favorite piece of advice.
So there's two questions left, James McCracken. One for your mother and then one for both of you. So question number 6, only for Mom. What would you tell yourself at age 20?
To get on that plane and go take surf lessons.
Sorry, McCracken, I can't ask you the same question because you're like 13 years away from it, dude. So Mom is now on a plane heading out to take those surf lessons. And the final question for us today is this. It has been said, we'll start with James, that all great people can have their lives summed up in one sentence. So your whole life can be summed up in one sentence. How do you want your sentence to read?
To stay adventurous and be playful. Just like, I love adventures. I love everything that has any adventure in it, just a little bit or a lot of it. I think my one sentence or one word would be adventure.
James McCracken, adventurer. You sure have been. And Becca, it has been said that all great people can have their lives summed up in one sentence. How would you like yours to read?
She lived her life loving others well.
You both are adventurous and you both do love others well. I love the way you treat others on set, those who have big names and those who seemingly have inconsequential roles and no names. I saw it in you both, the way you treated everybody equally and well. It was awesome. And I saw the way you were adventurous the entire time. Anytime I invited you to do anything in St. Louis while you were here, you did it. It's awesome. We do have one thing. It's not for all of you. It is only for one of you. I'm going to give it to you right now as we wrap up this podcast. This was going to be my camera holder, but then James brought me a bobblehead because he went to a Cardinal game last night. I'm trying to convert him from being a Cubs fan to a Cardinals fan. So he gave me a Jordan Walker bobblehead. I appreciate that. And I figured I should probably give you something too. So we have a little gift as we wrap up this podcast with James McCracken. James, open it up and then tell us what the heck you are opening once you figure out how to get the package
right now
open.
I'm opening a red box and I cannot figure out how to get this package open. Okay, I feel like I'm just going to rip it by now.
What if we start here?
Oh, wow. That was easier than I thought. Okay. I see On Fire James McCracken baseball. Well, I think I'm going to get it. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a see-through baseball that says On Fire and my name. That is... Wow. It's very fragile also.
Tell our listeners, because maybe not everybody knows, what does that signify? Like, who else got a crystal baseball and it matters to them? Do you remember in the book? Did Jack Buck give?
Yes. You got a crystal baseball, in fact. Right? Yeah. I remember in the book that Jack Buck gave you a crystal baseball. I think it was his.
Well,
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure you had something similar, and not the words Jack Buck on it, but we wanted it to have the mighty words James McCracken. So, James, you are an awesome man. You're a perfect participant in our movie, and I'm grateful to be your friend.
I am happy to be your friend. I am just very happy to be on this podcast. I love everything about it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moviegoers and book readers, my name is John O'Leary. You've been listening to the voice of James McCracken and his mother, Becca. In the scenes behind us moving around periodically, the mighty Hayes McCracken. He's on set too today. I want to thank you for tuning in today. And I want to thank you for being part of our Live Inspired podcast community. So for this time, and until next time, my name is John O'Leary, and today is your day. Stay on fire and live inspired. I want you to say genius.
Genius?
No, say it like Sean McNamara.
Genius! Haha.
My friends, I told you on the front side, you were going to love the conversation with James McCracken. It's a reminder that age does not have to define how big and mighty your heart is to love the one in front of you, to have this exuberance and this passion to live a bold life. James is exhibit A of that. And I'm grateful that not only is he in our film, but he's in my life. Now he's in yours. For those of you who want to learn more about the film Soul on Fire, what an awesome opportunity right now to move forward. Last week when the podcast dropped, Sony reached out to me and said, what happened? We just had dozens and dozens of requests for people trying to book theaters around the country and around the world. Well, if you weren't part of that group, let me invite you to be part of it right now. For you to bring this film into a theater, to invite your friends, the people who go to school with your kids, your church, your community, whatever it might be, man, fill it up with your people. You can do exactly that right now. The film comes out officially October 10th, but you can bring it into your theater even before then. Learn more at soulonfiremovie.com. That's right. Do it right now. Don't delay. You'll want to get your tickets. You can get them there. You can watch the trailer there. You can also buy, rent out, reserve entire theaters there. What a cool activity to do as a community family. Go there right now, soulonfiremovie.com. soulonfiremovie.com. I'm looking forward to filling theaters around the country and around the world with your help as you're learning, as we bring these various voices into your life. The story's not about them. It's certainly not about John. It's about how your life can be used in mighty ways when you let go of the things that are holding you back, when you recognize that you have royal blood coursing through your veins, and then you say yes to being used for good. Why not share that message with those that you love? Do so right now by visiting me online at soulonfiremovie.com. My friends, I want to thank you for being part of this special series, Voices of Soul on Fire. If you've not yet subscribed to our podcast, wherever you're watching my video right now or listening to this voice, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's an awesome way to make sure that when these babies drop week after week, they show up in your world. So family, I want to thank you for being part of my world. I'm grateful for you, and I remind you that the foundation is firm, that God is still God, and the best is yet to come. So for this time, and until next time, my name is John O'Leary. Today is your day. What a gift. Live with your soul on fire.